The search for a KwaZulu-Natal Sharks Board employee continues at Richards Bay's Newark beach. A Transnet National Ports Authority chopper earlier took to the sky to search for the man who was part of a crew of 5 when their boat capsized earlier today. The incident is believed to have occurred sometime between 6:30 and 7 a.m. when the crew were carrying out daily routine maintenance of the nets. The chopper searched the seas as a search and rescue personnel attempted to confirm the exact number of crew aboard the craft. 2 were rescued by the Alkant Strand lifeguards, while a further 2 were confirmed deceased. SABC Search and Rescue and NSRI members are still on the scene, awaiting low tide to continue with search operations, but sea conditions are worsening. Search operations have been placed on hold due to rough seas and heavy winds as members await a low tide. Well, for more on this story, we cross to our reporter Mlungisi Khumalo, who's standing by for us in Richards Bay. Mlungisi, a very tragic incident that's occurred. Can you just give us more detail?
Yes, very sad indeed. I can confirm to you that we are just here at Richards Bay beach. What I can tell you thus far is that according to authorities and according to the MEC of Economic Development and Tourism in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Mr. Sihle Zikalala, he says that 2 people have now been confirmed to have deceased, and unfortunately one of the people is still out at sea and rescue operations are now busy looking for him. But with me I've got Mr. Shakir Hiraman, who was part of the rescue operation this morning and was one of the people that rescued Mr. Richard Kumete as well as Mr. Comfort Kumete as well. Now earlier on, we as the SABC as well as with the entourage of the MEC, we went to visit the family members of Mr. Richard Kumete. Unfortunately, Richard Kumete just turned 43 yesterday rather. Yesterday was just his birthday, and the family says that they are very, very distraught. They are very, very shocked as well. In fact, when we further engaged and interacted with them, they said that Mr. Richard Kumete was a person that seemingly knew how to swim. So this incident has just basically left them in the dark. And of course, we got an opportunity to interact with the MEC of Economic Development in the province, Mr. Sihle Zikalala, and asked him about this incident. Now, you'll also recall that not so long ago, 37 beaches in the province of KwaZulu-Natal were unfortunately closed due to talk deadlocks with the laborers and the unions in the province. But to tell me more about the incidents and the rescue operations, I've got Mr. Shakir Hiraman, who was here this morning and who rescued some of the men that drowned. Mr. Shakir, thank you very much for your time. A very, very tragic day today. We also understand that you knew Richard very well. Tell us about today's rescue operation.
It was quite a tough one. Yes, I knew Richard Kumete well. He was one of the local guys here on putting our shark nets up every day. And the incident happened when the boat flipped, and I managed to get out there. Fortunately, I was the only one that seen it happen and managed to get out there. I pulled Richard out, untied the other guy that was actually stuck on the nets, untied him and brought him to shore as well. Unfortunately, 2 of the other guys were washed away. I couldn't get hold of them. And then the 3rd guy was drifted to the rocks.
Now, Shakir, you and I had a conversation earlier on, and you told me that the rescue operations are still continuing, although we have one of the workers who still apparently still at sea. Now, you said it's going to be quite difficult to try and track them today. Tell us why about that more.
Yeah, seemingly that person is already drowned, and one would go underwater and stay underwater for some time. Our seas are fairly rough today as well. So as soon as tomorrow morning comes light, then we would go out and search. The lifeguards will do their rounds. You got SAPSC rescues will go out as well. NSRI also helps on board, and Transnet helicopter will go out as well tomorrow morning. And most probably the patient will be floating by then.
Just briefly paint us a picture of the weather conditions today, this morning.
Yeah. This morning we were having quite rough seas with this wind howling through, and close to the pier the sea was quite rough. We had quite a bit waves there, quite high waves as well, and unfortunately the boat was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Shakir Hiraman, who also is here in the city of Umhlatuzi, who was also one of the people this morning that rescued some of the workers that drowned this morning. Over back to you in studio.
Thanks very much. That was my colleague Mlungisi Khumalo.